Hello, today's video is an ICT focus. We're going to be looking at spreadsheets, more specifically the formula basics you need to know to use spreadsheets effectively. This is good if you're studying functional skills ICT at level 1 or level 2, or if you actually just want to be able to use spreadsheets in a more confident way. The key thing to remember when it comes to formulas is that they all begin with an equal sign. That is present no matter how complicated or how simple the formula, it must always have that equal sign. Basic formulas that are quite good to know in Excel: the sum formula. This is a formula that adds values together, often phrased in questions as total. The max formula. This identifies the highest value in cell selection. Min, which is the opposite, it identifies the lowest value. Average, which runs what we'd call a mean average if we're studying maths of a selection. And then the key sort of operations, so the symbols that you need to run: addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Let's have a look at an example of a spreadsheet using these formulas. So this spreadsheet is a shop that is selling different types of sweets. We have a cost per unit and the number purchased. If you haven't already, have a look at my formatting basics video, because that's what I've applied to this spreadsheet so far, in that the headers are bolded and the borders are present, and I've formatted the cells that have got financial information to currency. So how are we going to apply our formula to this sort of spreadsheet? First of all, we've got to work out a total cost of our products. Now, I always say when people are confused about this, that consider having a piece of paper and a pencil and thinking, what would I actually do if I hadn't got this computer and I needed to do it by hand? What would be the number sentence that I'd have to create? If I want to know the total cost of my units and number purchased, what I would do if I had paper is the cost per unit multiplied by how many had been purchased. And that's exactly what I'm going to do in my spreadsheet here. Remembering to start with an equal sign. I'm going to use cell references so that I don't have to worry about changing the numbers. I wouldn't be typing 20 times 0.42 because we know life is changeable. People will purchase more, costs per unit go up and down. So if you're using those cell references, they will update automatically. So I need multiplication, which was the asterisk, and I'm doing number purchased multiplied cost per unit, or I could have done it the other way around, it doesn't really matter. Press the enter key and it's calculated it. I'm not going to enter that again because I can now copy and paste this formula and Excel will adjust it to the rows according to what I ask it to do. I wait for the cursor to have the solid black cross, click and drag it down. And as you can see, if I click on the cell to look in the formula bar, we have C3 times B3, C4 times B4, C5 times B5, C6 times B6. So Excel has essentially copied and pasted that formula but adjusted the cell references because it recognises I need to move down. The next part of a question, or the next thing I might want to do with my spreadsheet, is actually calculate the total sales that have been made, the total of this column here. Now what I can do, if this was at the bottom, I could click on the auto sum button, which is here, and generally speaking auto sum will either go across or above. It's set to do simple quick calculations. So I could actually, if I put my total cost cell here, I could have just clicked on the auto sum there and ran one above, but I've not done that. I've put it over here to be awkward. I'm gonna have to type this one in, I think. Equals sum. I'm going to be selecting more than one cell, so I open the brackets, click on my selection, that's what I want to add together, and then enter, and I can see I've made £68.90. Okay, if I wanted to use that auto sum button, I still can, but as you can see the selection, it tells me I don't want to add B8. What I can do is use the handles and drag them to select the data that I wish. So I want to know how many things were purchased in total. I'm adding these together. You can see it's put the formula together. Argument would say it actually probably would have been faster for me to type it in, but it's always good to know a couple of methods to do something. So I sold 125 and total sales was £68.90. Okay, so what was the average number purchased? If I was doing this again, mathematically speaking, if I was doing a mean average, I know to do a mean, I would add these together and then divide by how many I got, which is 4. If you're not sure on how to do a mean, there is a video on our channel about it if you have a look on the maths playlist. I'm going to use Excel to do this, so I'm going to cheat a bit. So, golden rule, equals sign. What do I want to do? I want an average. Tell the computer what you want. Open the brackets, make your cell selection, close the brackets, press the enter key, and I can see the average purchased was 31.25. Now that's not overly helpful. I can also see my formatting hasn't pulled through here, so I'm just going to make that a size 18 to fit in. It's not helpful. So actually what I can do at this point is use these reduced decimal places or increased decimal places tools. I don't want it to 2 decimal places, I want a whole number. So my average purchase is actually 31. Max and min are very similar. I'm going to identify what was the max cost, what was the min cost, I think. So max, again, equals max. That's the formula I want to do. Open the brackets, select the values, close the brackets, press enter. The max amount was £33. What was the min? Well, I can see, because there's only 4 results here, £8.40. That's what should come up. Obviously, if you've got more data, this formula is much more useful. But I can see my formatting again hasn't pulled through, so I'm just going to adjust that. And there we go. So that's modelling the basic functions that we use. Remembering that sum is for when you want to add everything together. The symbols are there if you need to do any multiplications or division. Average does a mean average. Max shows you the largest number in your selection. Min shows you the smallest number in your selection. And every single formula that we use must begin with an equal sign. If you've got any more questions, please talk to your tutor or your assessor, and I'll see you next time.